Okay, welcome to yet another very special edition, the 10th edition of the Ronline Report. This is one we've been waiting for a while now. Finally, it's here. Flex Wheeler, that's right. Flex, welcome to the Ronline Report, sir.
What's going on, old friend?
Not too much. What are you
How
eating
long
there?
have we been doing this, me and you?
Well, I was thinking about that. I want to say I met you. You and Matarazzo were co-hosting American Muscle Magazine at
90.
a place called Ironworks Gym in Hermosa Beach, California. And what do you think? That was like 5 weeks out from that 91 USA?
I don't know. All I know is I lost and he won.
Yeah, well, I couldn't make it that day. You know why? I got married that day. That's right.
Wow. I accept that.
So yeah, I've known you for a few minutes here. Where am I going to start? I want to start with the comeback, of course. That's what everyone's talking about. That's the main thing people want to know about. So let's start with your last show, Ironman Pro in 2003. When that show was over, did you know that was going to be it for you?
No, I had intentions on going to the Arnold Classic and trying to shape up and win. I thought I was going to be able to win. I couldn't figure out what was going on, why I couldn't dial in for the Ironman. I was really disappointed. I took third. Jay won, and
Melvin was second.
Melvin took in second, and really disappointed. But I figured, okay, I've been out of it for a minute. I'll regroup and dial in and nail the Arnold Classic, the big money, and yeah, kind of didn't happen.
So was that? Did you get really sick right after that?
Yeah, it was one of those years where the Arnold Classic wasn't the next week. We had a break, and then it was going to be the following week. So it was that following. I just knew something wasn't right. I couldn't put my my focus on it. I knew something wasn't right. I didn't feel right. I couldn't even look at myself in the face, and like in a mirror, and I couldn't even look back at my own reflection because I'm like, man, something isn't right. But I just didn't care. I just I got to go on one of these shows, and that Sunday I came back from church and just all hell broke loose. I was just shaking and I couldn't even get out of the car. I was shaking so bad, and I was sitting there. I was trying to think, man, did I accidentally take a diuretic or something? What's going on? And I just went over and the synopsis of what I was taking. It's like, and I just knew I knew it. I knew everything that went wrong, and just broke down in tears and said, get me, calling 911. And they were like, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't know, but something's bad, and got there 911, and they ran a battery of tests, and after about 3 hours, they came back and gave me the news.
Yeah. So you didn't really retire at that point out of any choice or intention. It was, you were forced. You were forced into it.
Yeah. I was forced into it. I had to deal with more pressing issues.
So I know you went through really, really rough years after that, and you were on. Yeah. You had two transplants or one?
One transplant. Just everything that could possibly go wrong with her surgery went wrong. I mean, they almost lost the kidney on the kidney table because the girl who donated her main artery was too small, and they were just going to put her kidney back in, and I was just going to be stuck in one of the doctors came up with a brilliant idea, like go into my left quad and pull out the main artery and attach it and make it work. And from, if you know anything about the vascular surgery, when you mess with those veins, it's never right. So that just spawned on, just surgery after surgery, and ended up getting a blood clot in my right calf and almost died from that, and had to rush me back into another emergency surgery. So long story short, about I think 9 surgeries in 11 weeks or something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
it was definitely some trying times.
You went through. I remember you had like a dialysis machine that you used to take around with you when you traveled and everything.
Yeah, nobody knew it. I mean, that's before I had the transplant. I like in 99. 2000. I was being dialyzed, so I would take my machine around and I would host the shows and do my interviews. And back then I was working for MD, and just had to keep doing my job and pay my bills. So I would just have my equipment shipped to whatever state I was going to, and and dialyze myself overnight and unplug myself, because it's a certain amount of hours you have to be hooked up to the machine. And I had to get to prejudging, for the show, the coverage. So I would unhook myself, run and do the show, and then run back after prejudging and hook myself back and finish my session up, and unhook myself again and run back and do the nighttime show and get back real quick and finish hooking myself up, and then I would always try to set my flight on that Sunday to leave after everybody else is gone, so nobody see me toting all this equipment around,
Wow.
So, but just no excuses. I was a bread maker, and I had kids and a family, and I had to keep paying my bills. So.
Looking at you now, you'd never know that you went through all that. So how long did it take you to, I want to say, get back to normal? Because, you look like are you feeling good now? You must be feeling great now.
Yeah, I feel great. I don't question it anymore. I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get how everything happened. No one in my family has this disease, and well, at least on record. The disease is so new. It's only about 30 or 40 years old. Wow. That they discovered it. So, maybe my grandfather or a great-grandfather may have passed away from it, but they didn't test then. So, but nobody in this generation have it, and it's no cure, and still they have no cure for it, and they still don't know why it happens. They just know it's the most rare and deadly kidney disease known to men, and it never goes away. So, I'll be facing soon, where my numbers go crazy, and I'll have to go back on a list and have another kidney transplant. I've met parents who had, kids that are 13 or 14 years old on their third kidney, so I've been really blessed. It's been 13 years, and, unfortunately I was just in a hospital a little bit over a year ago. Everybody heard I was in the hospital for a month, and they couldn't figure out what was going on, something going on with my stomach, but they took the advantage of just running just a hell-blazing amount of tests. And that's when I started thinking maybe I could compete again, because I was in the hospital for a month, a little over a month, about 6 weeks, and some of the most excruciating pain I've ever been through. I'm talking just curdled up like a baby, just crying every day, screaming. And they couldn't, get me out of pain. So I was on Oxycontin. I had an epidural drip to my back. I was on a Demerol pump, and still it wouldn't touch the pain. So they actually, not to my knowledge, the doctors walk in and they tell you what the drug is, but they, the name of it. But how do you know? I don't know. Yeah. So they're like, hey, we found some different drugs. We're going to switch you on. They're going to work. I'm like, okay. But they end up being mind-altering drugs, where basically they were giving me drugs that altered my brain to make me think I wasn't in pain, because they couldn't get me out of pain. So I didn't know that. So that just sent me into a hellspin. It was just horrible. So, but I had a nephrologist team that had to watch everything, because they had to make sure that they didn't damage my kidney while they were trying to figure out what was going on. And even with all those drugs, as horrendous as they were, my normal level since transplant has been between 2.1 and 2.5 my creatinine. And now they understand, because I'm a little more muscular than the average person, it's actually better than that, but creatinine spilled over, and it's called muscle. So those are my numbers for the last 14 years. So even when I was in the hospital for a month and all those drugs, it only jumped up to 2.7. And that's getting into the dangerous area. I never wanted to step into 3. When it's 3, I'm probably facing, going down a hill. But they ran, a 24-hour analysis, and they came back and said, man, it's, how do you feel? I'm like, what do you mean? How do I feel? And he goes, well, we don't get it. And it was like 7 doctors in a room, and I was like, what do you mean? He goes, your kidneys function at 70%. I go, okay. And he goes, no, you don't understand. You should be on your 3rd transplant. This kidney's 14 years old or 13 years old, and you should be on your 3rd transplant. And it's function at 70%. That's better than average people. And I said, I have no idea. He goes, I guess it's just a super kidney. And they laughed. He goes, no, it's definitely a super kidney. And I just said, hey, it's the man upstairs. He's in charge of everything. So, that's when I just kind of started like, wow, maybe, and of course I I'd already heard about the classic physique going to the Olympia, and I didn't know what that's all about. And I never wanted to go back and take the drugs that I did before, or be the bodybuilder I did before. I'm like, well, maybe I can go back and compete, and my body can just handle the waste product. If you go in and you banging in the gym, that's a tremendous amount of waste. That's what caused me to come out of stop competing in 2002. When I tried to compete naturally, I ended up in a hospital that night after the Olympia, and it just come to waste product. So I'm like, maybe my body can handle it now, and so that's when me and Stan kind of devised a plan and said, okay, let's go in the gym, start cleaning up the eating and banging and see how your body responds. So I go in and have my blood work done every 3 months. So we switched it, and I started having it done every month because I wanted to catch it if I was doing something wrong. And numbers kept getting great, and they dropped from 2.7 and went down to 2.4 and fluctuating between 2.5 and 2.4. And I was like, man, and I was still nervous. So we went to the Olympia, seen Danny win and everything. Like, wow, man, I go, like, what if I could come in my condition or close to my condition in 93. I was 214. I just got to drop down and kind of flatten out, weigh in at 210, Thursday morning, and, eat back up. I'll probably be 215, 217 on stage. I go, man, what if? He goes, damn, Fletch, you got the muscle. It's just, bringing back the maturity and everything like that. So you don't even have to do any of that crap you did before, and I'm like, yeah. And I go, so, we start trying, and I reached out to Robin Chain and told him the whole thing. And he talked to Jim Mannion, and, they were both very hesitant, and I said, hey, listen, I'll turn over all my blood work and I'll submit to any doctor you guys want. And I'll just be like anybody else. I go, just like any other competitor in Olympia, if something goes wrong, they pull out. I go, if something goes wrong, I pull out. Simple as that. So just still to this day, getting in better shape, and I just don't get it at all. I don't really understand it. I'm not questioning it, but my blood work is still hanging around 2.4, 2.5, and I just not questioning it. So I'm really excited.
Do you see it as being a problem getting down to 210? Because what have you been holding, like around 240 or more?
Nah, everybody thinks that. I don't know why. I even post pictures of me standing on the scale. When I started dieting, I was only 230. But I was fat. I wear my clothes well, and obviously I look better than I really do. When I wear clothes, that's just a gift of mine. But I was a 230 fat. Probably like maybe 17%. I'm talking pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I just started dieting and cleaning up my weight, and and slowly start changing. Now it's really changing really fast. And right now I'm at a flex weight between 220 and 221. So okay. Our plan is. I want to hang around this weight and get my body really used to this weight, and probably drop down to about 215 about 3 months out, and hang around that weight, get my body really acclimated to it. And then I got a 5 pound dip, okay. And I'll bounce right back. So just things are going super, super well. I even heard a rumor that Ronnie was like, there's no way Flex got to be 250 right now. And you know what I mean? I guess that's just my gift, right? My illusion that I throw off. Even when I was 214, people lied and thought I was 240 or whatever. So that's what I really hope that I'm able to. That's probably the only thing that's going to help me compete against these guys, is that I'll throw off this illusion of looking a lot bigger than I actually am, and I'm not really focused on trying to win. Obviously, I want to be the best I can be. I'm still Flex. I still want to win. I want to kick everybody's ass. But, I'm a different guy. I'll be 52 years old. So, my mind frame is I'm able to walk on stage and look the best I can. I already won. I won in so many different ways based on all the surgeries I've been through, back surgery, shoulder replacement in both shoulders, knees, and all that crap. And first kidney, transplant recipient to walk on stage at the Olympia. So, it's a bigger thing than me, and that's this is the first time I'm giving this message. I was going to do it on my own YouTube, but it's bigger than me. It's not just about me going back on stage and trying to get redemption or trying to win a title that's been elusive or everything like that. I've been through so much and experienced so much. It's just for every person that dealt with a organ transplant. Every person who's dealt with surgery, every person who's had back surgery or knee surgery, or every person who's been suicidal or broke or you know, from the welfare or ghetto or homeless or, you know, for all those guys, I just want to stand up there and say, okay, I've been through all these things, and, you know, just try, just don't give up, you know. So that's my bigger message, just to be able to hopefully, you know, have people drink from my cup and not have to go through my experiences, but get the same benefits. So I'm just trying to, you know, because it's difficult. It's really, I've gotten so many messages from people all over the world who are suicidal and have depression problems, and man, it's just, it's heartbreaking. And if I can be a beacon of light for people like that, or other people who have, you know, a rare, deadly disease, I still can die from this disease. Over 90% of us pass away from this disease. So, you know, so people who have, you know, a rare disease that they have to fight, and I have to take these god-awful pills every day, you know, twice a day, almost like 17 pills a day, just to be able to stay alive. And just for people who just been through something, you know, I just want them not to give up, you know, because I've been there. You know, I gave up. You know, I just like, damn, this is just going to be me. This is my life. I'm going to look like crap for the rest of my life. I'm not going to be able to do anything. And, you know, for whatever reason, I was able to gear up and get out of that rut. And, you know, I just wanted to try to help other people who's in that same situation. Because, you know, a lot of times when you've been through some really deep shit, only a person who's been through that can even, you know, look you in the face and know what you've been through. So that's my bigger plan. And that's the main reason why I'm trying to do this.
Cool. Now, we all watched Kevin last year, who's almost, well, he's a year older than you, I guess, right? But, you know, and he retired about the same time that you were forced to retire.
Yeah,
so,
he retired a year or two after me.
02, I think his 02 Olympia, I believe, was his last show before last year. So, you know, what was it like for you watching him come back? Did that inspire you at all?
No, because I knew I'm not Kevin. I never been Kevin. I know that I can't go on an open stage. I don't even want to be that guy. I mean, you know, it's everybody chooses to do whatever they do. I'm talking about myself. The things that I had to take to look that way, my body couldn't handle it. I mentally couldn't handle it. I mean, I'd probably lose everything. I'm just not a good person, you know, on that stuff. And I don't even want to be that. I'm 51. Come on. I mean, time moves on.
Yeah.
So I never looked at it that way. You know, Kevin, I'm great friends with him, and I back his play 100%. But there was never a thought like that because he was going into the open class, you know, and I'm not going into the open class. And possibly some of the things that were a uphill battle for him, I don't have. I don't have to get bigger. I don't have to grow. You know, I don't have to worry about, you know, competing against guys bigger than me. I'll probably be one of the bigger guys, you know. Yeah. And naturally, I can come down in weight just by great dieting and training. So I don't face some of the obstacles that he had, but I have, you know, a tremendous amount of other obstacles that I got to deal with that he doesn't have, you know. So he inspires me. But you know what I mean, Ron? Everybody inspires me. I mean, if I wasn't a shit you, I mean, you're inspiring me. I look at your videos on Instagram and stuff like that. I get inspired by everybody who's just in there trying to work. You know, I'm just being honest. You know, Simeon Panda, I met him at the FIBO finally. I was like, you know, man, you're inspiring me. You know, I'm not so big-headed that I don't get inspired by just the normal people, you know, because that's the innocence of it. So I get inspired by everybody. I get inspired by Dennis James because, you know, he came back and looked great, you know, and he's still grinding. I get inspired by everybody who's, you know, just doing something, you know.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure you're aware of, you're working with Chad again, correct? Chad Nichols?
Yeah, well, what I've done is I need to have eyes on me. I mean, I've been training people and doing people's diets for the last, you know, 2 decades. So I know what I'm doing. And even when I was working with Chad, he was brilliant in helping me understand, Flex, listen, I'm not with you 24 hours a day, so you need to learn your body. Yeah. And then only once you learn your body can you then let me know what's going on so I can help you. And even while I was doing diets, you know, and I called him up and asked for advice. He's like, why are you asking me this? You know, as much as I do, you need to be doing this, you know. So, but like any professional, you need eyes on you. I mean, I'm sure Michael Jordan was pretty great, you know, but he had Phil Jackson eyes on him. So I called Chad up and I gave him my synopsis on what I wanted to do. And I said, you know, I got the diet part, you know, I'm pretty good with that, but I just need eyes on me when I'm getting ready to, you know, the last final weeks, you know, because I'm pretty destructive. I'm still the old Flex Wheeler. I don't think I look good and all that stuff. You know, I think I look horrible. And so I need some objective eyes on me. And I know he has those objective eyes, and he can be honest with me and say, okay, you know, you need to do this or you need to do that. So I just wanted to get some professional eyes on me. But other than that, I mean, me and Stan are handling everything else, the day-to-day, you know, things.
Stan Efferding, for those who don't know who he's talking about, the Rhino.
Yep, the right Rhino, the white Rhino.
The white Rhino.
Yeah. AKA Mr. Blackheart.
That's right. Were you upset at all with Sean for making those comments about Chad a couple months ago?
I didn't even hear her. You know, I try to stay off the internet, man. I hate it. But unfortunately, it's a money tool now, and you have to. So I'm trying to post a little bit on, you know, Instagram, and I tag it to go on my other two, the Twitter and the Facebook. You know me, Ron. I'm personal. I take things extremely personal. A guy want to mouth off at me, I'm like, you know, people, you know, they think they have the right to voice their opinion, and they do. But, you know, I'm from the street where, yeah, you also have to be aware that you might have to deal with the consequences of your opinion, you know. So, you know, I really try to stay away from everything. And, you know, unfortunately, I get caught up when I read some of my own comments that people make on my posts, and I get it, you know, extremely angry. You know, we found out that you got muscle implants in your biceps. And, you know, just today I read, okay, Flex, you know, be honest, you figured out some way to inject oil deep into your biceps, so that's why they're still striated, because you inject them so deep. I'm like, ass clown. I go back and look at the history of me. I go, when I was just skinny Kenny, all I had was biceps. I mean, come on. You know, but so it's a double-edged sword, this internet crap. You know what I mean? So yeah, it pisses me off. I just try to post and not read. You know. Well,
I envy your position. I wish I didn't have to read as much of it as I'm actually forced to as part of what I do for a living.
Yeah, man.
So let's talk about some of the new business things you got going on. First of all, Generation Iron. How did you get involved in that? And what is your involvement in Generation Iron?
Well, you know, I've known Vlad and for a while, and obviously, you know, they did the first Generation Iron movie, and we had talks from then, and they had some people reach out to me like, hey, we want to use you for the next movie. And I really wasn't that interested in doing it. And we just were talking, and then I ended up meeting a colleague of his, Craig, at an event. And I didn't really know who he was or anything, and we just hit it off. And we were just talking for hours at an event. And you know, I knew he was there for Generation Iron. He had the hat on, and I did an interview with him, but it didn't really click. And later on, he's like, man, I want to bring you on our team, you know, this, that, and other. Like, I'm not really interested, you know. And we continued talking, and we had a lot of the same feelings and stuff like that. And, you know, Vlad got involved, and they brought me on as the executive vice president, you know, of the company. And just more or less just some of my experience globally with dealing with business and also dealing with athletes, being that I'm an athlete. And, you know, that's kind of been an Achilles heel with them on how to deal with athletes and be respectful of their privacy or what they want to talk about. And so that's kind of what I'm bringing to the table. But it's going really well. You know, I'm just, you know, consulting them on what my thoughts are on, you know, the route. And just like yourself, you can, you know, consult, you know, your bosses on what you think. It's up to them at the end of the day. But, you know, that's pretty much my job.
Okay. And this supplement industry news, you're with Black Skull. You're going to have your own signature line within Black Skull. What is Black Skull, and what do you do for?
I'm one of the Black Skull soldiers. You know, it's probably got to be, other than the cooler. That's probably one of the most exciting things that I'm involved with. You know, so we just released my line at the Brazil Honor Classic, and actually formally released my line and Branch's line at the Honor Classic. And, you know, it sold out in 2 days. Both of our lines completely sold out in 2 days. And we did a tour there, and it was just tremendous. I mean, some of the stores had to order $1 to $2 million to even get us in their store. And we just were booked out. I mean, it was just 9 appearances in 9 days from one side of Brazil to the other. So
wow.
It's just been really successful. And I've never worked with Branch, even though we've known each other forever. So it was great to finally get to know each other on a personal level. I mean, when you're sitting in a car with a guy for 4 or 5 hours, you know, over 2 weeks, you know, you kind of get to know each other really well. But I'm, you know, super excited about that. And at the Olympia, we're going to release, you know, both our lines here in the United States. And it's just, really good team to be with. I've been with so many teams, but I got to be honest, what really affected me was Marcelo. I knew him when he owned Probiotic, and I knew he was a stand-up guy. I know the reason why he had to walk away from that, and I had even more respect for him with that. But when I was with Mex when he made me the offer, and I was like, hey, can't do that with Mex. And, we just kept talking, and he just said some things and made some offers that I'd never heard of. And one of the key things was, perpetuity. He goes, Flex, if anything ever happens to you or God forbid, and we're still selling your product, it goes to your family.
Wow.
And it's actually in a contract. So, Darius and Nia and my kids and my wife are all mentioned in my contract. So you just never hear that crap, somebody who's that stand up, who's looking out for you. I mean, a lot of people say it. I'm not going to say the companies, but I've heard it before. Your family, we're always going to take care of you. As soon as the contract's over, you get kicked in the ass and you're out. But for somebody to put something like that in writing, to say, hey, as long as we're selling your product, you'll get benefit, or your family will get benefits from that. And then, they move forward and backstocked over $2 million worth of product. So wow. They're not joking around. So, so really excited to be a part of a team that has that type of power and those type of personal beliefs. You know what it's like, Ron. You work for different people, and they may say things, but when it comes to them putting it in writing or backing that play, don't always happen. But
rarely
it's not asked for. Yeah, very rare. It's not asked for. He came right out and said that. So I was like, wow. It's not. It's not like I was fighting for it or ever heard of it before. I even been with companies I supposedly own EFX, and when it came down to it, I didn't really own shit. I didn't get anything when we walked away. So, for him to bring that up and put that in the contract immediately, and so yeah, I'm really excited, super excited about that. And when I signed with them, I hadn't told them that I was doing Olympia because I didn't want them to play on that. You know what I mean? I didn't want them to kind of use me and ride my coattails. So after we signed and everything like that, I announced it to them, and they thought I was joking. And I was like, no, I'm really serious. And like, what about your health? And I, explained everything to him. He goes, perfect. And I go, why? And he goes, because now we can design a line around you. What do you want your line to be about? I go, well, I'm 51, man. We need different things than younger guys need. So, based on me and my needs and my age and everything, let's design it around that. And he goes, well, what do you mean? I go, well, it's. How many people have you met, that's been a college warrior, athlete or, professional athlete or just a weekend warrior or freaking stuff when he was younger. And now he looks back, he's, a father, a businessman, a grandfather, and he looks in the mirror and is like, damn, what happened? I go, those, that's my group. I've been there, so let's create something, for them that actually really works. And yes, you use it for me getting ready for the Olympia. One day he's like, it's perfect. So it's everything kind of just clicked. I'm really happy about it.
I mean, that's really different because I would have to guess that the average supplement consumer, supplements are marketed for, I want to say like 16 to 25-year-olds for the most part.
Yeah. And my argument is, okay, you can't really gear things for athletes because if you're a true athlete, you're going to get it for free.
Yeah.
If you don't get that for free, you're going to go somewhere else. They're not going to pay for nothing. All right. I get it. But who has the real money? Not the teenagers. Yeah. I mean, they'll scrounge and come up with the money. I go, but who has the real money? Yeah. People my age.
Right.
People 40, 50 years old, 60 years old, they're businessmen. They have the money to spend on it. They're not going to haggle you about nothing. They're going to go in, and if they believe the product works for them, they're going to go in and buy it, So, let's go after that market. Not really the baby boom because I'm not that old. And, those, they're in their 70s or 80s. That's not really my market. I go, but, that 40, 45, 50, 55 range, that's me. Let's market it for those guys. And, successful businessmen are right around that money, that market. So that's a huge money pot. I go, the younger kids, they're going to come along just because of what I've done and my name and stuff. So we're going to kind of get a little bit of them anyway.
Yeah.
I go, but, like my pre-workout, we're talking about it. It's called Last Crusade, which is interesting, but he goes, how do you want it to? I go, basically, I want my pre-workout to be done with me when I'm done with it. When I'm done in the gym, I don't want it chasing me around the room for the next 3 hours. But, I mean, so but if you're gearing towards kids, right, you want it to be like with freaking I Look Lincoln and Chewing. I go, we don't want that, the older guys. Fuck, when I'm done, I want it to be done, So so that's kind of how we design things, and that way I can talk based on experience instead of talking like a salesman,
Cool. So, you haven't trained with a show in mind. You've been training all along.
Yeah, and on and off, on and off. I've done a video here and there, and like I said, I mean, I wish I was more serious about training all this time for the last 15 years. But I'd go in the gym and probably bang for like maybe 2 or 3 months and just get bored and walk out. But just for whatever reason, I just look pretty decent in clothes. And that's always gotten me by. I never was seen in a tank top or with my shirt off. I made sure of that. I'm so conscious. Even if I take my daughter to the beach, I'd always wear a shirt. I'm just effed up like that. But yeah, I've been training on and off, other than, trying to get healthy, for like the last 5 years after my kidney transplant. But other than that, I've been training on and off. So
but now you have, you got the show coming up. This is, we're in beginning of May.
Yeah.
May, June, July, August.
4.5 months.
4.5 months. So, I mean, you must be in a different zone now, and it must be kind of like the old days in the gym now, I would think.
Yeah. I was it's a couple of different machines that I use that Stan has at his house, and I just came from training over there, and I was laughing. I was like, man, it's like, because before I would be so entrenched on the next day of training, and I'd wake up and I was just like, God dang it, I can't wait to get in there. I'm going to destroy your ass, whatever body part. And I'm there now, I just wake up at 4 o'clock. I can't wait to get a hold of you,
You train with Stan?
Yeah, I train with Stan, yeah.
How does that work when he's like one of the strongest guys in the world? He doesn't pressure you to try to lift like that, does he?
No. Well, you got to remember, I trained him first. So we really agreed on my training philosophy. And, that was probably one of the most uncomfortable things in the world, training him, because I knew he was a brain. He's went to school for all that, and I knew he's beyond successful, more successful than I could ever imagine as a businessman. So I'm like, how do I tell this guy what to do? And, he's just very, very, down to earth. He goes, Flex, you done what I haven't done. I came to the best. I feel you're the best in the world, and I want to do what you did, so just tell me how you did it and why you did it, and let's go and do it. So, he was super strong, so he'd always do all these crazy, squats and hack squats. I'm like, no, okay, man, let's drop the weight down. We're going to do 20s. So, he kind of looked at him like, yeah, okay. So, put the weight on there, and we're doing sets of 20s, and he's just like, prepare to go in deep water, man. He goes, what do you mean by that? I go, you'll find out, So after a couple of weeks, he's about to pass out on the ground, sweating, puking, and the guy's laughing. He's laughing. He goes, oh, this is great. I go, what's wrong with you? Because I love this, He goes, man, I love this, And so we agreed on that. And he asked me, he goes, why do you feel that works more so than heavyweight? And I go, well, you look at Olympics speed skater. All they do is just skate around the ring over and over, just repetitious. Yeah. And they got some of the most sickest, roundest quads you can ever effing imagine.
Yeah.
They're not squatty, no heavy ass weight. It's repetitious. So I go, use a good foundation of a decent amount of weight, and then it's reps. Time under pressure, just reps. He goes, okay, I get that. I go, I believe in training a little bit more often. I don't believe in, giving a body 5 days rest. And like most people, I'm like, I don't believe that you can overtrain. He's like, well, how is that? I go, look at some of these guys who are globally known that's in prison. Some of the most monstrosity chests and arms in the world. These bastards, all they do is bang chests all day long, curls and triceps. And they putting freaking sodas on their chest and making them pop. So how is that?
Yeah.
How is that they train the same body part every day and they have such tremendous growth? Now, their legs are small just because they don't do them.
Right.
But how is that? Yeah. So if you look at that, then they defeat that argument that your body needs rest. So I think everybody is different, definitely. But, it's a human body. We can't conceive what its abilities is. I mean, what is it? We're supposed to be using something like 4% of our brain power.
Yeah.
So I just believe if you get proper rest and proper nutrition, you can't outdo the body. Man, who was designed by? Are you kidding me? And you think you're going to outdo it? Really? So those are just my philosophies on training, and that's what I mean by, mind-muscle connection. It's not possible. So I'm just taking that and using it now, and he believes in it. So when he trains people, he uses that system. So we're using that system that works, and he keeps reminding me, no, we're going to do what you did to me. We're going to do the exact same thing that worked for me. We're going to do it for you.
Yeah.
And when I get stuck and like, people give me a hard time because I don't go deep enough, he goes, nope, we're going to do what works. I'm going to do what you did for me. We're going to do what works. And it just kind of keeps me stable like that,
Do you find it ironic at all that the guy holding the Classic Physique Olympia title right now, Danny Hester, is someone that,
He's my training partner.
He was your training partner. This is going back over 20 years.
One of my training DVDs, yeah.
Yeah, I remember him in your mass construction video. He was like, your tag-along guy pretty much. And now he's the guy you're going to be trying to knock out.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, Danny's a true friend, man. We banged together back in the good old days. I mean, he was part of our crew with Rico and Chris, and we really got to know each other. So, I mean, I was, so elated that he finally achieved his goal, because I always thought Danny was, just took it too easy. I mean, I always thought the guy was beyond gifted. He'd enter shows and do a half-ass diet and half-ass train, and he would still look half decent. And I just like, man, the guy is so incredibly gifted. So when he finally won, I'm like, about time. Took you long enough to get focused and do it. And I knew he had that potential, and he probably even has more potential than that. But no, it doesn't bother me. And from what he says, it doesn't bother him either. He said I inspired him and, to do what he's doing. But, I'm not looking at it again. My focus isn't to go and knock somebody off.
Right.
My focus is to be able to go on stage and be the best that I can be at 52 years old and kind of make a statement for everybody else who's going through things. Now, again, yeah, I am competitive and I love to win and everything like that, but that's not my main focus. My main focus is nailing my condition. And for all the naysayers, I hear people say, why you get an invite? You're nobody. You're a has-been and this, that, and other. My focus, I know. I can't believe it. You're nobody. You had your time. What do you deserve? And I'm like, really? Wow. But I just want to be able to go on stage. And I'm not going to please everybody because certain people are just dicks and they want to be a dick. But I want to go on stage and present a look that people say, okay, yeah, dude did his job. Maybe I didn't believe in him or this, that, and other, but damn, he brought it. He didn't lean on his genetics or take a light. That's what I want to do. And if I can achieve that, then I won already. But, the other way I kind of keep myself from battling Danny is first I say there's other guys going in the show.
Yeah.
He's not the only one.
Right.
And there is no 2017 champion. He's a 2016 champion. So that's the way I kind of keep myself from having to think about, damn, I got to go up against my friend. It's not a two-guy show. It's not a Flex Wheeler show. There's a lot of guys going in there and trying to win a show. And I'm just one of those guys. And, most of all, I'm just, are you kidding me? After everything I've been through, Ron, I mean, 15 years later, I get to go back on the greatest stage of all for our sport. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
How could I be losing, man? I mean, and some of my body parts right now, 5 months out from the show, look better than they did ever before. I never had strided biceps like this. Never had strided triceps like this, and my hamstrings now and the separation rivals 93 already. So certain body parts are already ahead, And I'm like, man, I would have never thought this. So I mean, it's such an honor to be able to go and stand on stage with some of these young bloods and just rub shoulders with them and just I'm just going to be up there a ball of emotional tears and just savoring a moment. It's like a steak before you get hung or something that they depict in a movie. I'm just going to be looking around and just smiling and just so excited that I got an opportunity to kind of to stand on the stage that I always took for granted for so many years. So I'm winning already.
It's a win for the Olympia. It's a win for the fans. I mean, last year, the Olympia is not that exciting when you have the same guy winning always for years and years, as we know from the past.
I think it'd be exciting if I was like on my 10th one. I'd make it exciting for people.
You'd make it exciting. But I'm saying last year, Kevin's comeback is what, for a lot of people, made the Olympia weekend really exciting. Let's see what I want to see what Kevin looks like. Now everyone's talking about, I want to see what Flex Wheeler looks like.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to go to the show and watch and follow this show just because of you.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm aware that I get those messages, and I'm excited. It's just, I try not to get on too much of a kick of when someone says something negative. I mean, positive. Just the same that I don't get too thrown off when they say something negative. But it's really nice, for people to say, "My God, I finally get to see you on stage." I never got to see you, or I was just a kid when you're competing. So, I mean, probably the thing that I'm looking forward to the most is just being able to go back up there and just present myself, to posing. It's always just been, so personal to me. So I can't wait to go back up there and just perform for the audience and express myself through emotion on stage. I'm going to start working on my posing when I come back. I got to go take one last trip to Turkey next month. And then I come back and then I'll start working on my posing 5 days, actually 7 days a week. I'll go into the posing room and start training myself just how to be able to do it, how to hold my poses, how to be able to master them, and, doing the same things I used to do before, get used to holding it for 5 seconds and move up to eventually holding each pose for 30 seconds. And then just put a CD in and pose for an hour, just flowing, just getting used to that stuff. So, I can't wait. That's probably one of the biggest things. I just can't wait to get back up there and display, and what I have to offer and express myself through on a stage. I can't wait,
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I speak for a lot of people of my generation who grew up watching you, and I never thought I'd get a chance to see you compete again. And just like Kevin last year, I was always a fan of Kevin's. I was always a fan of yours. I am so psyched that you're doing this. Can't wait to see you.
Thank you.
You're going to look great, but regardless, I'm just happy you're doing it. This to me is it's like, wow, Flex is back.
Yeah, so. No, and I thank you so much, bro. You know how close me and you are, and people don't even know how far we go back. I mean, geez, because they're idiots. But anyway, I appreciate that from you. I appreciate that so much from the people who've been there that I know really well. Dexter telling me that, and some of the other guys and stuff like that. It's an honor. But I can't wait. Like I said, I mean, who would ever imagine? After everything I've been through. It's just wow to be given this opportunity again. So I just definitely want to go out there and say thank you first and foremost to Jim Mannion and Raphael and Robin, for even giving me the opportunity to be able to do this. But man, I don't plan on letting nobody down. I've never dieted for 9 months or so, but I started dieting almost 9 months ago, and
wow.
I still got 4.5 months to go, and one of my sponsors of my food is 6-pack bags, and it's just great. I don't think about cheating. My food tastes so good and everything like that. I actually pack my food and take it to different countries and stuff like that. I'm like, and I just laugh. I was with Brent in Brazil, and we're eating, and he's like, damn, you stand on your diet. I go, man, I don't even have a desire to cheat, and before I would get in shape, and then I would just turn off. I'm like, okay, I'm there.
Yeah.
And I never got everybody's argument. But yeah, what about if you can look better? I'm like, no, I look good enough to win. Why push it? But now I really want to see, what can I look like at 52? And people are like, can you really look like you did in 93? I don't know. And my honest opinion is I'm pretty confident, I'll be right around probably 80 to 90% of what I was in 93, and some body parts are going to be well better than that. So I'm just super excited just to see what's the possibility, where before I would just shut down and say good enough. I mean, some of the shows I would just write on my mirror, you won, because I knew there was a look that if I hit it, that it'd be hard for somebody to beat me.
Yeah.
And when I hit that look, I would just shut down and just stay good enough to look like that. But now I'm like, man, I wake up and the striations in my biceps and my chest and my hamstrings. I'm like, God dang, what can it look like in 4 more months?
Wow.
And so I'm excited, man. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Cool. Flex, it's been my honor, privilege to have you on the show. So cool to talk to you again. It's been a while. Hopefully I'll see you around some of the shows, and I'll definitely be following you on your social media, seeing how this all comes down, and can't wait to see you in September, man.
I really appreciate the sincerity, Ron. I appreciate it. Thanks for MD for wanting to interview me. And, for my fans, you can follow me on Official Flex Wheeler is my Instagram. And whenever YouTube puts my page back up, I don't know what the hell is going on with them, but the Official Flex Wheeler is my YouTube page. But thank you so much. And I hear and I see the sincerity in your eyes, man. And I really appreciate that. Coming from people who really know me, that means the most to me. So thank you, brother. I appreciate it. I'll see you at Olympia.
Cool. All right. For the Ronline Report MD, it's been Ron Harris with the one and only Flex Wheeler. We out.